All right, everybody, welcome back. I'd like to give you a brief introduction to while loops. While loops are very similar to if-else type structures because they are set up the same way. They use a comparison operator. Before we do anything, that may not make sense to you, but when you see it, I'll explain. We're going to start by doing what's called a simple counter-controlled while loop. So we're going to start by creating a variable. We're going to set count equal to 0. So we're going to start counting at 0. We could start at 1 if we want to. But we'll start at 0 because in computer science, we tend to start with 0 as our first digit. So what we want to do is we want to loop as long as the count is less than 10. We're going to count from basically 1 to 10. So we're going to say while count is less than 10. And then we're going to use the less than symbol. We're using the counter variable, which is count. And we notice there's a colon at the end, which is just like your if type statement. And instead of if, it's while. And while just means as long as. So we're going to loop as long as count is less than 10. So the first thing I'm going to do, since we started at 0, we're going to add 1 to the count. So we're going to do it the shorthand way, which is count plus equals 1. And that's the same as saying count equals count plus 1. So this, in effect, adds 1 to our count variable. So note, we start at 0. We go into our while loop because 0 is less than 10. We add 1. Count now becomes 1. And we're going to print it out. So we print count. Excuse me. Did not mean to do that. And then after, I'm going to do another print statement saying we're done. Okay. It's basically indicating that we're done counting. Now, I've already saved this, so I just need to run it. So I type my F5. We run it. And we get 1 through 10. Notice 1 through 10. And then it says we're done. So the key to a while loop is we need some kind of a comparison here. And there are 2 rules that will help you create while loops that are important. Rule number 1, make sure you get into a while loop. If you can't get into a while loop, then nothing's going to happen. What if I accidentally had put while count is greater than 10 and I try to run it? Well, when I'm done, all it says is we're done. I never did go into my while loop. And I know that because it skipped it and it went straight to this instruction. Well, the problem here is that count is 0. 0 is not greater than 10. So if we can't get into the while loop to begin with, we're never going to loop. The other thing you got to be really careful about is make sure you do something to get out of the while loop. So if I accidentally put minus equals 1 instead of plus equals 1 and rerun it, watch what happens. I'm counting down, and I'm only getting lower and lower in my numbers, and I'm never going to be greater than or equal to 10. So the only way out of this is by typing Control-C. Well, I got to be on that window. Control-C, there we go. It's a keyboard interrupt, so it stops the program mid-running, and that's a bad idea to set up your loop. So rule number 1, make sure you can get into a while loop. We got in. Rule number 2, set it up so you can get out. And so we run it again. One more time. We print out 1 through 10, and we're done. Now, what's nice about a while loop, and in this case, a counter-controlled while loop, is that we don't have to count by 1. We can count by 2. So we can count 2 through 10 by 2s. I just add 2 instead of 1, and we run it. And now it does 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Then we're done. Okay. Of course, we can always count down. Whenever you decide to change things like counting down, make sure you follow those 2 rules. If we set count to 10, we want to say while count is greater than our final condition. The final condition that gets us out of the while loop is when count is no longer greater than 0. It can either be worth 0 or it can be less than 0. And of course, we're not going to be counting down if we add, so we need to subtract. We'll start by subtracting 1 each time. And so let's just test it out. It's not hard to test this out. We just run it. We get 9. We included 0. If we did not want to have 0, but we want to include 10, we have a really simple fix. Just change the order of when we change the count. So what if I print first? We're going to print the count, then we're going to subtract 1, and that will fix it. So we'll start at 10, we'll end with 1, but let's run it to make sure. Hopefully, this is a demonstration of the fact that nothing beats actual running of code to test it out. So even if you think you got it right, you should always test it to make sure it's doing what you want it to do. So that's a standard counter control loop. And you don't have to print out the count. Maybe you want to do something 5 times. So we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and do count. While it's less than 5, instead of printing out count, we're going to print spam. In true Monty Python tradition, we're going to print out spam 5 times. And we run it. Oh, wait. What did I miss? I need to adjust the count, absolutely. So, count plus equals 1. Now, in this case, we're not printing the count. It really doesn't matter where in my while loop I change the count. Because once you're in the while loop once, whatever is indented is going to get run as many times as it needs to. Which also, keep in mind, indentation is very important. Notice we're done doesn't happen until the while loop is over. Because it's not indented. Let's run it. Do we get spam 5 times? There we go. Spam, 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 spam. Okay, so you get the idea. All right, and in case you've never seen the spam sketch, just Google Monty Python spam. All right, I won't show you that video. You can find it yourself. So that's standard counter controlled while loop. There are other kinds of while loops. Let me just show you one other kind. We call it a sentinel-controlled while loop. And for this, we're going to do a little battle simulation. In our battle simulation, we're going to give our hero a health of 100. Oh, before we do it, we're going to import some random here. I always do my import statements at the top. Import random. All right, battle simulation. We're going to battle as long as health is greater than 0. So now this is called a sentinel controlled while loop. And this variable sentinel is going to keep guard, as a sentinel would, of the while loop. So we're going to put while health is greater than 0. So as long as we have more health than 0, we're going to keep battling it out. And we're just going to simulate that every time we battle, we take damage. And we're going to throw some random inside. Random.randrange, and we're going to subtract about 20 health, anywhere between 0 and 20 health. We're going to put health minus equals damage. Very simple sort of algorithm. Each time you get some sort of damage. It could be 0, and maybe you got missed or whatever. And so we subtract health, and let's just go ahead and print. Actually, instead of, yeah, we'll go ahead and print it out. I'm sorry, I put you took. I'm going to do a little curly brace. Damage. So we're going to use the formatter. So we use little curly brackets here to insert variable values. In order to do that, you put that inside of your string, and at the end of the string, you put dot format, and we're going to put damage, comma, health. So every time we run the print statement inside of our while loop, it'll tell us how much damage we got and how much health we have Maybe I'll do an input statement, sort of pause the loop, put a little new line. Now I'll just do press enter to continue. Okay, like so. And let's go ahead and run it now. So we took 15 damage, now have a health of 85. We press enter. Don't know why it does that. And really weird. So here we go. We took 6, 5, 9, 7, 9, 1, 16, 2, 2. And we keep pressing enter until finally we now have a health of -9. Maybe we should clean this up a little bit. I'll add one little feature here. If health is less than 0, we're going to set health to 0. So that way it doesn't look like we have negative health. That just seems odd unless you're like a zombie or something, and then maybe all your health is at negative values. I don't know. Okay, enough about that. So now we have this while loop, and let's do one little feature because I want to demonstrate how this is different from a counter-controlled loop. Well, you already should know that it's based on random. We don't know how much damage we'll take each time. I'm going to get rid of the press enter to continue so that doesn't slow us down too much. But I'm going to reset count here to 0. And in each loop, I'm going to add 1 to my count. I'm going to do count plus equals 1 at the end of each loop. I could have done it at the beginning. I just chose to put it at the end. And finally, at the end, so I'll put the battle took however many rounds before you died. And we're going to use format again. I'm going to put count on here like so. I'll put an extra line return here. And let's go ahead and test it out. Invalid syntax. What did I do wrong? Oh, I forgot the dot. All I had to do is look above. There we go. Let's run it again. Right. This battle took 14 rounds that time. Let's run it again. This time it took 10 rounds. That's a difference of 4. So a sentinel-controlled loop is the kind of loop where you don't know how many times it's going to repeat. There's some element that is outside the general control, as opposed to a counter-controlled loop where you're just trying to do something a specific set number of times. So those are 2 main while loops. There are others. I'll save that for another presentation. But in general, let's just kind of review the main concepts. You want to have some way of getting into a while loop, some way of getting out a while loop. And the thing that controls the while loop usually depends on a variable and some specific value we're looking for. This right here, count is less than 5, or health is greater than 0. These are called Boolean expressions. And a Boolean expression is just an expression that can evaluate to true or false. For example, in our Python shell down at the right-hand corner, I'll put health greater than 0. That's false. Health less than 0. That's also false. And then we put health is equal to 0. And that's true. So you can see Boolean comparisons are comparisons where we're using operators to test it out. As long as whatever comparison here evaluates to true, we will loop. As soon as it evaluates to false, it will not loop. And the moment it evaluates to false, it skips the from this line all the way to the next non-indented line. Works just like your if type statements. Be careful, all elements that are tabbed over are considered part of the while loop block. And then, of course, you can always nest while loops or if type structures inside, in which case those will get double tabs there. So I hope this helps you understand in general what a while loop is in Python. Thanks a lot.